Hello everyone, this is Masmi and welcome back to my channel. So today this video is gonna be a very special for me because today I'm going to share my story. How did I learn this language and what were the struggles behind reaching in this level? So let's start. When I think about my journey of English learning, it feels like flipping through a books and each page filled with new challenges, small victories, and many, many memories. So today I'm going to revive that all memories. So it was my compulsion to learn English, not my interest. Yes. And I learned English within 6 months, but my journey started from 3 years back. Yes, you heard it right. So let's talk about my education background. Well, my mother tongue is Bengali, and in my childhood, as I started to go to school, my language was not certain. Yes, my language and medium was not certain. I was switching Hindi to Bengali medium and Bengali to Hindi. Eventually, I fixed in Hindi medium. So there were no great role of English. In my family, nobody used to give value to English language. Yes, as I have completed my schooling where there was just one subject in English and we used to study that subject just for getting passing marks. Yes, in my case, I was too weak. Yeah, I was actually too weak to remember that all long answers in English because I was good at grammar, no doubt. But when it comes to speak, read, and write something, I was too weak. And that's why I started hating this subject. Yeah, it was for me like a brain surgery, to speak English, to write in English, to remember that all lengthy questions, answers in English. So it was a very bad experience towards this subject. I started hating this subject. Then later on, when I was about to pursue graduation, where I had to choose English as a major subject. Yes, you heard it right. I was at that moment senseless when my father told me that you have to choose English as your honors paper. So, why it happens? Because somehow I got great marks or maybe good marks in English. So, I don't know how did I get that marks. Highest marks, my highest marks was in English subject. So I was like, I don't know how, but maybe just because of my grammar was good and I was good at, rote learning. I was good at rote learning. So that's why maybe I got good marks in English subject. I was having no option left. I had to choose this subject as my major subject. Then I make my mind that I know it needs hard effort to learn this language, but I was ready that I have to do. I will, no matter how, but I will. So then, the bad luck. It was my bad luck that there were no compulsion to go to college. So no compulsion to go to college. That's why I was not used to go to college. And that was the reason that I didn't get the place where I could use this language, where I could speak. So that was very difficult for me. I want to work on this language. I want to work. I want to improve, but I didn't get that place. But I used to go to tuitions to a professor where we were 4 to 5 students. Okay, so they were also in my field. So what happened at that time? I used to tell them, so as we have this subject as a literature, so we must need to work. Even though we are acquiring knowledge through our subject, honors paper, but it's very necessary to speak this language, to be fluent in this language if we have this subject our major. But my friends were not ready. They were like, we can't speak. You can speak, that's why you want to speak, but we can't speak. So at that time, my level was just, how are you? What are you doing? So I knew this kind of, small sentences. So I thought, why not, to practice to each other. They were totally not agree with me. Then I thought, okay, I will actually not able to practice here. I have to do something. Then I thought, let's join classes. As you know that, English spoken classes in offline. So there are a lot of classes. So I joined. I joined a coaching, English spoken coaching, and I was there for 4 months only. Because of my exams, I have to left that course. But what I actually learned at that course, I actually get profound knowledge of grammar. Yes. At that coaching, there were just 3 days for practicing physically, and rest of the days were for theory classes. Like we have to know grammar as much as possible. And 3 days were there for practicing practically. But the thing was, when there were no teacher, we were sitting each other, like they were I was getting my co-partner in front of me. We were sitting. When there were no teacher, then we start speaking Hindi. Yeah, at that time I was so comfortable. Like I was not actually fond of to learn English and to speak English, so I also started to speak Hindi. Even the assistant teachers, they were also not comfortable in English. They were also started to speak with ourselves in Hindi. So somehow maybe 30% or 20% we were just talking physically. So after 4 months of pursuing that course, what I actually found, I became a beginner. Yeah, before that I was totally scratch, but after joining the course, I reached in a beginner level. So at that moment I could speak few sentences. I could have a conversation, I could say, in a breakable way. But later on, after completing that course 4 months, then the desire to speak English fluently and to be fluent speaker, it born in my heart. Yes, before it was my compulsion, but now after that course it becomes my passion, that I have to become a fluent speaker. I was so keen to look for partner to practice, but I was helpless at that moment because there were no partner with me. No partner totally. And even there were no anybody who gave me suggestion that you can learn and you can practice this language with yourself. Then I started using YouTube, and where I found few of the video, there were big banner, how can you speak English if you are a beginner. I thought, I want to learn this language. So I started watching that kind of videos, but I was unable to practice what they are like. I was listening them, but I was unable to to action, to plan and to practice practically. I was not doing that. But somehow I start following one habit. That was that I found in one video, like one of a speaker, maybe somebody was saying that if you want to learn English, you have to start writing journals, you have to start writing diary. Like it doesn't matter if you are unable to make sentences in English, just use your breakable English. टूटी फूटी हो जैसे भी हो, इंग्लिश से लिखना शुरू करो. So it was that line, and I was like, oh really, like I could learn English if I start to write diaries. So I thought, okay, I have to do this. From that day I started writing diaries. Yeah, I started writing diaries. It was the year of 2021. Yeah, I want to show you my diaries. So these diaries are my memories, I could say. These diaries are my memories to learn English. Okay, so first, that is 2021. You can see it was the diary of 2020. It was one of diary was just lying down on the table. Then I just pick up that diary and I just write down here. You can see my kalakari. So then it was 23 diary, and there was also one jugaru, I could say, small diary just for to-do list. Then 2022. So actually I was not able to keep consistent to write diaries every day. It was actually so tough for me because I'm a kind of person who are totally unable to keep consistent. So I was like, after starting my writing journey, for 1 week I was consistent. Then I was started avoiding the days. Like today I wrote, then tomorrow not, then day after tomorrow again not. So I was like forcing myself, you have to write. If you want to learn, you have to write. So that's why there are a lot of pages left in this diary. So I thought, why not to use these pages for next year. So the next year is here, 2022. Yeah, and yeah, I have completed in this pages 2022 entire year, because again not able to keep consistency. And another is, it is 2023. Yeah, you can see this is, and this is all about all the memories, breakable lines in English. I used Hindi, I just mixed up Hindi and English. 1 year, 3 years has passed now, but I was actually not putting any effort to practice practically. I was just writing diaries, that's it. Except of that, I was not following any kind of activity. Even, there was desire in the corner of my heart that I have to become fluent, but I was not actually getting the suggestion that you can learn this language by yourself. I was like, I can't get any partner to practice, so I can't speak. I could do just writing diaries, and I just write diaries. So this is my finally 2024 that is running now, and it is just about to complete this diary because the year is about to go. These are the 3 diaries of my memories that actually make me recall that when I started my journey, I just did this thing. Except of this, I didn't did anything. Then I have completed my graduation, 3 years, and 3 years I just did one thing, writing diaries. And then I thought, yeah, I have done my graduation with English literature, but here I am not able to speak English fluently. So I thought, now I have to work on my English. I restarted my journey. I restarted watching videos on YouTube. So I was like, I got the suggestion, that for learning English, you have to practice with yourself, start speaking with yourself, try to do mirror talk. I was like, what is this? How can I do this kind of weird thing? So I was actually not following at that time, but I was having conversation, there were online platforms that I knew from YouTube channels, that these are the few platforms where you can have a conversation. So I start having conversation, but I just did for, 1 week or highest 2 weeks. Later on, again, not able to keep consistency. So that's why in this way I did it twice and thrice to start my language journey, to start actually practicing with myself, but I didn't get any result. Then my inner soul start talking to myself that, see, you can't. It doesn't matter how much effort you will put to learn this language, but you can't because it is your second language. Since childhood, you didn't study this subject. Since childhood, you were just avoiding to, open your English book. So how can you learn and become fluent in this language? It's absolutely not possible. Like my soul was started talking to myself, telling myself these things. Then I thought I should have to acknowledge this, that I can't be fluent speaker. I know, because as it is my second language, so I can't, so it is useless, I am just wasting my time. Then there was a turning point. I was about to give up. Meanwhile, I come across one video. Yes, one day I was scrolling videos on the YouTube, and I come across one video where there was a girl who were, sharing her journey. How did she learn English? Then I actually inspired from her so hard. I was like, if she can, then why not I? Because her background was more vast than me. So I thought I could. It's all about practice. Until and unless I will not push myself, not keep consistency, it's not possible. From that day, I started practicing every day. Yes, I started following reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Yeah. So I made proper study plan, how I have to study. Then I started following that all activity, what is quite essential to learn this language. And as I was such a lazy person, so it was so tough for me to follow this all activity every day. But I started forcing myself that you have to, you can. Then I thought at first I have to buy books, physical books for reading. Yeah. So for reading, I bought 2 books in a very cheap price. I want to show you the books. This were the combo price. Okay. So these books are non-fiction. These are not fiction books. So you can see this. I will not actually suggest you to read these books because these are the non-fiction books where I found actually personally a bit tough, to understand the language. So if you are a beginner, I will not suggest you non-fiction books. I think you should go for fiction books, because I was regretting that I was not enjoying. First, I was not enjoying to read these books. That's why I was so irritated. I was actually unable to understand anything. But I tried to translate all the vocabs, and now I restarted to read these books. Once I have done entire book, I have done both of the books, but now I restarted to understand properly. But now I reached in this level, and now I'm able to understand it properly. But before, in my beginner level, as I purchased these books, I was totally not able to read. I was just forcing myself. And this was for reading. And for speaking, I thought for 1 month I don't have to make any kind of calls. I have to speak, I have to do self talk, because if I will do self talk, then I will make myself confidence. So I started following self talk. It was recording my voice and talking to myself randomly. And there were one problem at my home. My mother was totally against to me. My mother doesn't used to like that. And even if I am in talking in English, it was literally so bothering for her. So that's why I was actually not able to practice in a comfort way sitting at my room. I was not. I had to go to roof. So I used to do, actually, in the noon time, I used to go to roof. There were sun rays, and I used to practice. I started talking to myself. And even I used to think, if somebody will saw me now, then they will start to think that I became mad. I became crazy. Because I started talking to myself. I started talking to myself, whatever things I did, whatever I am going through. If in the morning I start talking to myself, then I am like, what are the things you're gonna do entire day? So yeah, at that time I became actually crazy. I was totally mad to learn this language. I started following all the things whatever I was getting from the YouTube channels, that you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do mirror talk. I started following everything recklessly. And my mother was like, why you are why you are this much using this language? You don't need to go to abroad and any other country. So I was like, please don't bother me. I have to do whatever I have to do. So at that way, I practiced for 1 month initial days. But after 1 month, I started enjoying the language. I started enjoying to practice. Before, I used to force myself. But after 1 month, I started enjoying the language, the process, because it becomes my habit, to follow it every day. One more thing that I want to share with you. You know what? Before starting this channel, there were only 1 month left. So that month was quite memorable for me, because at that time I was in training, and I was like, this is the last month I have to practice, and I was not getting time. I was in training, and entire day I had to go to school. Then I used to come between 4 to 5. So at the night time I used to practice. At the night time, after completing my academic studies, then I start focusing on practice, like reading, writing, listening, speaking, everything I used to follow. So the last month was actually very memorable for me. I actually put it hard work. I used to take sleep between 1 to 2, and I put it my 100% to practice this language. Then I started this channel. But one mistake that I made, I don't want to make you that mistake. That is following one routine for 1 month. So I will say, don't target 1 month. Just break it weekly plan. Make weekly plan that in this week I have to follow this routine, and in the another week just change your routine. In this way you will feel enthusiastic, you will feel so excited to follow new routine. If you will follow one routine for 1 month now, you will feel so boring. It makes boring to practice. So follow multiple plans, for weekly. You have to follow it weekly. Even if you will start to follow weekly, then you will not waste your time. Yes, you will not waste your time, as I wasted my time. So this was my mistake, and I actually want to advise you, don't make this mistake. Just try to make new plans, routines that will make you very excited to follow it and to enjoy the routine. Okay. One more thing, that is, it was not only for me a language journey. Along with, I learned so many things. I was actually a social media addicted person. Now I don't waste even a single 1 minute in social media. Yes, my Instagram, all the social application is on mute mode. I don't use them literally. Even whenever I need any kind of work, then I use them. So now I'm totally free from social media and from all the distraction. And I was such a negative thinker person, but now I am always taking every matters in a positive way. And the best skill that I acquired, this is communication skill. Yes, communication speaking skill I acquired along with my language learning journey, because when it comes to learning a new language you have to interact with stranger, and it's hard to deal with a stranger. But now I'm quite comfortable. If any kind of stranger will come to me, I will easily handle, I will make the conversation quite engaging. I have that quality, because anybody try to interact me, they actually appreciate, I will to be honest, they appreciate that you are quite good at communicating and I enjoy your conversation. So I actually feel that now I became a good communicator, because I am a good listener, I could say. Before I was not, and I can understand and I can talk to somebody according to them. So now I acquired this skill, and this skill is very important for every field. So start your language journey. Don't wait and don't waste your time. So it will not only refine your language but also your personality. So just start your language learning journey. And yes, I'm here, still learning, still improving. And yes, I do make mistakes, but I am lot more comfortable with English than I ever thought that I would be. So now I have a friend circle where I can use this language in a casual way. And of course, they were a stranger. They were a stranger. Now they were very good friend of mine where I enjoy myself. Even I practice every day in a casual way. So if you will start your journey, you will definitely got these friends where you can share your vibes, where you will get the similar vibes what you have, what the personality you have, because we are in a same path. Okay, so this was my story that I wanted to share with you, and now it's your time to start your language journey and to make it memorable. So that's it. I will catch you in another video with new information. Till then, you have to take care of yourself, and don't forget that you have to live your life like you are the king by shooting all the negative thoughts. Okay, so bye bye.